It's the Glenn Goss Show, conversations about real estate and life. Be sure to subscribe or follow the show. You never know, the next show might help you in your business or your life. Enjoy the show. So you had a pretty busy day today.
I did have a busy day today. I was out there being a realtor from the get-go.
Yep.
Lender breakfast, 9 a.m., be there.
Yeah. Yep. And a showing right before you came in here.
Yes. Have some referral from my last people from Amazon. One of the main bosses running 200 employees. One of his employees called me, and
awesome.
So maybe all the other 199 will give me a call.
There you go. So Amazon from what part?
It's going to be Amazon, the web server. So they're out in Hermiston area.
Yep.
And they have a bunch of the web servers out there. And one of my clients is running that. And it sounds like they're moving out quite a bit more than just that 200. That's just he's operating over. So it's going to be pretty extensive, the flow of Amazon people. I have some other clients that are getting ready to buy a new construction home, and their house is in Southridge, and they were going to sell, but somehow some Amazon people got a hold of them, and they're going to rent out to 3 different Amazon people. And
wow.
Yeah. So, you know.
So, yeah, that will be interesting when Amazon comes to Pasco. And brings even that much more.
With the warehouse part.
Right. There's such a presence in the area already with the spot in Kennewick and then the spot in Oregon, just south of the Washington-Oregon border. And now coming...
Well, it sounds like that spot is where my client came from, so they're pushing that down.
Oh, okay.
Here to Tri-Cities area.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with the warehouses. It's all about the web server.
Sure.
Every time you use your app, making a payment... It's probably them.
Just as a company, they have such a huge footprint here that they've built in, I don't know, I've been here 8 years now, and it was next to nothing, and it's growing. And we're a mid-market area, 300,000 people, roughly. So we're not a tiny, tiny town, but, you know, compared to a Seattle or a Portland or an LA, we're relatively small, and still Amazon has a decent footprint here.
It does, and I think as long as we are on the river, they need that water to keep their computers cool. So
highway access,
and seems a little bit more appealing than Hermiston to live in for some. They like the Kennewick Tri-Cities area, so
right.
So that's kind of great. It's great to get to know a lot of different people that are coming out this way. It seems right now a lot of my clients are coming from the west side. I have another set of buyers that just called me, and they're getting ready to move out here as well and turning their house into a VR and VO in Seattle.
Nice.
And come out here as well. And
so you mentioned this client came from by way of referral, and you moved here how long ago?
So I've been here since March of 2019, licensed here since August of 2019. And from there, I've been didn't know anybody except for my husband, but he didn't know anybody. So what was that like, getting your license here and then not knowing anybody? Because when you go through different real estate trainings, they will talk about reaching out to those that know, like, and trust you. So you're in an area for a few months, and now you have to try to get people to know, like, and trust you. What was that like? Well, it was a little overwhelming at first. I didn't really have a plan per se, but I've always been very driven, kind of like a bull. You just put your head down and you go. And so with that mentality, I knew I needed to get my license worked out and get that underway. And in the meantime, I needed to understand Tri-Cities. Now, I come from Scottsdale, North Phoenix, grew up in northern Arizona. My dad sold vacation second homes. My grandfather was an architect. So anyways, I came from this background. Scottsdale is a very trendy city. A lot's going on. A lot of new ways of dining, entertaining. Everything's just very alive. So I understood Scottsdale and that whole area. Now understanding Tri-Cities is a little different, and I wanted to understand, we have all this agriculture, it's potatoes and grapes, and people look like their shoes are a little dirty, and, I'm just like, oh, wow, where am I going to go? Maybe I need to carry a piece, like, I don't know. Things seemed a little overwhelming at first, but I decided I really needed to jump in to the heart of Tri-Cities. So right away, some may know, some may not know, but I bartended. Got a bartending job. I didn't need the income. We sold everything in Arizona, luckily. But I did need to understand Tri-Cities. And I did need to maybe support my bank account that was taking a huge nosedive because my husband and I didn't work right away. We were eating out a lot.
Sure.
So I thought, I don't want to be too committed into restaurant management, which was part of my background. But I love, I did many years of bartending because I didn't want to do real estate when my dad put me in real estate school. I dropped out, another story. But I did understand that that's a good way to understand the vibe of a city, what's going on. And I didn't, of course, want to be in an area, I wanted to be like dining. So Anthony's was a good place to just where people are coming in, they're dining. A lot of people are business people. They're staying at the Lodge or staying at the Hampton. They're here, and it was very eye-opening. I would be serving people that were coming in to do a PBS special, that were scientists. I was just really got to know people.
Sure.
That way. And I didn't get any straight, business from that. It's hard to pick your realtor who's also your bartender. It wasn't really a direct thing happening. Now, a lot of the people that have worked at Anthony's that saw that I, took off on real estate, a lot of them, the workers, the bartenders, the chefs, a lot of them have come to me, and I have helped a lot of them with their real estate goals. But it did help me to understand the winery, how important the wine is, how important the agriculture is, how important that we cover the grid, Hanford is, how important water resource. Also, I got on the governing board for a little while, but I think I'm kicked off. I don't know. I haven't heard any recent updates of emails. But it was interesting to, the issues with connectivity, how fast we are growing, and what's going on. So that being said, I kind of camped out at open houses. Got to know many people. I think I filled a database of, I even did open houses on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday. Any realtor that would let me do an open house, I was there.
Sure.
And that was a big way of meeting a lot of people, all different types of people. And a lot of them, of course, didn't come directly. But I think with my first transaction ended up being a for sale by owner. The client had called them and then called me, and I was like, yeah, let me call him and see what I can do. And had a conversation with him. He called me back. He's like, my buyer ended up not getting his house. He's like, but can you help me sell my house? And I'm like, yeah. And then he referred me to his family and their family, and then it just snowballed from there. I mean, honestly, the snowball just happened.
Yeah, it tends to happen. I think if you provide good service, people will recommend you. But do you ask for the service too, or ask for the referral? Or do you find it happen organically, or is it a mix?
I think I do. I think when I'm working hard for my clients, I like to point out, I'm always here for you. I'm be happy to be here for anybody that you know. Especially, I try to make it a point to let people know that I'm always available, that I'm always here. So I don't directly say, hey, I'm really need some extra sales this month.
Sure.
Do you think you could think of a few people that might want to sell their house right now? I'm not very directive that way.
But at least planting a seed to let them know that, hey, you are here for them for anything in the future, or anybody that they know in the future.
And that's where I kind of spend a lot of money, more money than I can write off for sure, is giving back to my clients. I go out of my way to have the client gifts made special by a few people that are home artists or private side artists, do their own stuff and do custom stuff for them. So home anniversaries, I send out home anniversary gifts. And even during the process of while we're looking for houses, I'll show up with some cookies, and no matter how the cookie crumbles, I'm here for you. Just little sayings on them and different little things. If I know they like wine, I have my girl. She does little decorates all the little goodies. I bought 50 Girl Scout cookies. We decorated them and gave them out. And I have about 7 cases of wine that she's decorated, and I randomly grab a bottle. And sometimes we didn't get the offer, something happened. I always have stuff in my car that is,
So no matter what, it's not just for a closing, but you're in a neighborhood and people that you've worked with or maybe working with in the future, and you make it a point to stop by.
I stop by, yeah. Even now, a couple of the people that I know work at different places. Some of them work at Starbucks, or some of them that have done business with me. One girl works at the sandwich place. I can't think of it right now. It's really good. Jimmy John's. And then the people at Anthony's, and I'll just be randomly dinking around and just drop off and be like, hey, just wanted to stop in and say hi and bring a little something for you. And people really enjoy it. And a lot of times if I miss them, other clients I do random, pop-bys for, I'll just take a picture of it and send it to them. Because I try not to be intrusive. I feel like, I feel very uncomfortable demanding somebody's time just because I showed up at their house unexpectedly with a gift.
Sure.
Even though it's a gift, I feel like if they're not already outside, every now and then sometimes they'll see me on the door camera, and just as I'm setting it down, they'll be like, hi, Kristine, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So those moments are perfect. And I'm hoping to get to see them, but at least I just take a picture and I send it to them and say, hey, I was thinking about you, just want you to know I was in the neighborhood, and, and it just kind of, even sometimes in the process of when we're under contract, there's really not a lot to say.
Right.
It's like we're waiting for appraisal.
Yeah, but at least you touch base. No matter if you don't really have anything to say, at least I know I do. I still try to touch base with people throughout the transaction, even if it's that week where nothing's happening, there's no appraisal happening, there's no inspections over, we're just kind of in this dead period, still checking in and saying, hey, just wanted to see if there's anything you need from me, or is there anything...
How's the packing going?
Yeah, what can I help you with?
Yeah.
Do you need any direction here or there, whatever? And then sometimes that materializes into something. Sometimes not, but I think people appreciate just the constant communication. And that's huge in real estate.
I think so. And, to be honest with you, I don't know how far I can count back, but I want to say at least my last 3 or 4 transactions have been referrals of people that have done business. My last 2 buyers that are coming into Seattle that just called me yesterday, they are referrals, 2 different referral people. One, they said his name. I don't know if this is something I should admit, but I honestly didn't remember exactly who it was. Recall, and I was like, oh, well, I'm sure that I can't think of who he is right now. And she's all, oh, but he remembers you really well, and he spoke highly of you. And I'm all, that's awesome. I'm gonna find out and remember. So that's on my mind, and I'm like, so I feel a little bad about, it's hard to remember. I remember faces very well.
Yeah.
But names, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
I'm the same way. I've had to train myself, and I bartended back in the day as well, and I would be so bad. Someone would walk in, I'd say, hey, my name is Glenn. They say, hey, my name is John, and then I'd start talking about this and that, the other thing, and then I'd go, oh, crap, what was that person's name?
Yeah. What was your name again? Bob?
30 seconds later. So, yeah, I've had to work on repeating the person's name back to them, keeping it in my head, repeating it to them again, and doing that multiple times to where, okay, it's kind of you start tricking your brain into remembering their name. But yeah, naturally to me, that does not come.
Does not work. And a few times when I've remembered it wrong, luckily it becomes a joke.
Yeah.
Their name was Patrick, and I keep calling them Peter, however. And it becomes kind of a funny joke between us all. And that's one thing I think that a lot of people like I was talking about before, it was sometimes that experience, it's sometimes if they can laugh with you and joke with you and things aren't so serious. And,
right.
That kind of breaks down that feeling of that they can't just relax a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So when you moved here, did you have ambition to get into real estate?
Yeah, that was on the agenda.
That was on the agenda, and you started bartending. Did you think, okay, this might catapult me into knowing people to do real estate, or was it just in between things?
I didn't feel like there was going to be any direct correlation.
Okay.
I felt like most people that saw me in that realm see me now as a realtor and don't recognize that was the same girl. You know what I mean? So there wasn't any real, and that wasn't really on my agenda. I knew I almost got my license while I was still in Arizona for Washington, but I just didn't. It was just like a lot of time, and I really didn't know who to go to, and I was kind of trying to talk to brokerages from over there. So once I got here, it made it more sense to just put the real estate here, work on that, have that be my other little thing. I literally had my clothes in the car and would change.
Yeah.
I'd be doing an open house on a Friday and then have to be at my shift by like 6, 7 o'clock or whatever it was, and do the open house, end at like 4 or 4:30, change in the bathroom and go and head, And a lot of the people, I didn't really share. A lot of people finally kind of knew I was a realtor, but at first they didn't know I was even doing that. I don't think they would have hired me to be their bartender if I would have told them, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a similar situation when I came here. I didn't have any intent of getting into real estate, but I had never stepped foot in Tri-Cities before, and then a year later got into real estate. But in that year leading up to it, I worked at a gym, and in doing so, same thing. You just talk to people, get to know the area. And just being here for a year, I got to know so many names and faces at the gym, got involved with the church, and then, names and faces there. Then getting into real estate, it was easy to talk to those people and let them know I'm in real estate now and start having the conversations to be able to use them, for lack of a better term. I don't mean like use them, but use them as a resource to be able to generate business.
Well, you can't market a secret. That's a huge thing to really embrace. You cannot market a secret. You have to let people know who you are, what you're willing to do, what you're about, why you want to do that. And if you treat people like they're your family, over a relationship, over transactions kind of a thing, it doesn't have to, it's not that hard. It's super easy just to have these relationships, make people feel comfortable around you, they trust you, and they like you. Being a likable person really just means that you don't reflect judgment onto others. A lot of times what you say and the body language you give off can be two different things.
Yeah.
And that, most people can tap into that. They may not be able to say, oh, I can totally tell by what she's just saying and doing, but subconsciously, I don't know what it is, but I really feel comfortable with this person. And that's where you're tapping into that. They don't know what it is. I know what it is, and as long as you know what it is that you're doing and what your intentions are, then that can catapult around you.
Yeah, I think if you have the mindset and the heart to help people, people will pick up on that. So I know some people struggle with talking with their sphere of influence, friends, families, people they know, because they feel like they are selling to them or they're trying to sell them on something. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. If you're going to make a call or reach out or meet somebody in person and your intent and your heart and your mind is, how can I help this person? How can I be a resource to them? How can I help their friends and family? Then they will pick up on that. They'll feel the genuine part that's behind what you're saying. If you have in your mind, hey, how can I sell this person a house? Or how can I get how can I get some money from this person? Then it just feels that way.
Yeah, I hate that when you walk into the store, they're like, can I help you with anything? No. I'm looking, it's fine. I got this,
Yeah.
And that's what you have to learn to. But like you said, you can't market a secret. So you have to be somewhat assertive.
Yeah.
But then find that sweet spot where you almost help them feel like it's their idea to pick you. It's their idea.
And really, you want it to be their idea.
Yeah. So you just expose yourself to them and be a good person, and then they see that. A lot of my time, I don't spend a lot of time in the office. It's more like a drop and run. It's like an event center in there where I make all the things I'm going to have my girl make or I make to drop off to my clients, But that being said, I do set up office a lot of times at businesses around here. And I purposely sit at the bar. Not because I'm having a lot of drinks, I promise. But you really, again, get to know the vibe of the area. A lot of people will come in and sit down at that bar. The bartender is like the captain of the ship of any kind of a restaurant, really. They have the best view.
Whoops.
They have the best view. They can see who's coming in. They can see what's going on. Most clients, that like to talk, I shouldn't say clients, but clientele of the restaurant that like to talk or like to have that atmosphere will sit at the bar because they want that kind of possible interaction with the bartender or maybe another patron. So all of those things, I like it. I almost feel like it's a part of my blood to be in a restaurant environment. And I'll work, and I'll just do my little thing and have food or do whatever. But by doing that, I have great conversations with the bartender. People will sit down, and then they'll see, like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just blah, blah. They'll hear my conversation. And next thing I know, I'm handing out my card.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's big. And when you're talking with people in a setting like that, whether it is a setting like that or whether it is somebody that just a personal phone call or something, like you said, don't keep it a secret, but don't make it weird. Mm-hmm. I've seen where, and I've probably even done it myself a little bit in the beginning, where you start talking with somebody and you don't know quite what to say. You obviously want to try to help them and want to do some sort of business, but you talk for an hour about sports or the family and the kids and this, that, and the other thing. And then you say, oh, well, by the way, I'm in real estate now, and hand them a card and leave or something. And you go, okay, what was really accomplished there? But
Not a darn thing.
Not a darn thing. But if you're talking with somebody and you are asking the Ford questions, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, if you were asking those questions to people, they inevitably ask you similar questions back. Mm-hmm. And if I was talking to somebody that opened a restaurant for the first time or opened a restaurant recently, I think they'd be excited about that and telling me about it. And, oh, you got to come try this, and we got this sandwich here, and we're open from happy hour on this time. I would go, oh, my gosh, yeah, I got to stop by and try that. Mm-hmm. Same thing in real estate. It doesn't have to be weird, but you could be talking with somebody and, gosh, oh, man, just got into real estate. I'm super excited about it. And people can feel and hear that passion, and then it's just a part of the conversation. It's not just, well, do you know anybody that's buying or selling right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm sure that's the case. No matter where I'm at, my SIM card wasn't working on my phone last week, and while I was talking to the Verizon guy, he was wanted to ask me about the market and what's going on with the market. So that's a question you're always going to get asked, and that's your one moment. Maybe you have a few, but a moment of what you say is going to be pivotal to how your conversation rolls with that person.
Sure. And you need to be ready for those moments.
Yeah.
Because really, people expect us as realtors to be the expert if they're going to hire us. And if they ask, hey, how's the market doing? And you have no confidence or you don't really know because you haven't checked in a few weeks or whatever, again, people will pick up on that. But if you can just roll right off your tongue, oh, yeah, I was looking at it this morning and XYZ is happening right now.
And you want to take it also on that note to where they're probably watching some sort of media. And whether it's, the left or the right media, as they say, or the middle. You see that new middle one that's out? The new middle? So your answer needs to be somewhere nowhere near any of that.
Yeah.
Because that's where their mind frame is.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have to come back with some sort of value that kind of like, oh, okay. Because when people look at buying and selling a home from a business standpoint, that can be changing.
Sure. Yeah. And there's a lot of that going on right now of the market shifting or the market's going to do this. A lot of those headlines it's maybe not necessarily right or left politic-wise, but it's some sort of attention-grabbing headline. I saw one the other day. It says, home appreciation is expected to plummet to 5%. I go, plummet to 5%. I mean, up until the past few years, 5% growth every year on a home in equity was a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
And now they're talking about it plummeting to that 5% level.
Right.
Or, sales dropping off, whatever. Sales going to plunge in 2022 compared to 2021. Yeah. And I don't know. I think as realtors, we need to not try to be the real estate Nostradamus and try to make bold predictions and, this is where I see the market going. But be real with it, too.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Say, I would say now.
This is the situation right now. This is what I'm seeing out there.
Mm-hmm. Like even my clients today, we're wanting to put an offer in on a property. We're looking at it. It's been on the market 7 days. They went through the last weekend. It's coming on Thursday. They're going to do an open house on Saturday. Do we go in at asking? Do we go in over? Do we go in a little under and kind of get them to work with us? From what I'm seeing around that 500, which these buyers are in that price point.
Which is close to our average price point here in Tri-Cities.
We're seeing a little bit of a dip. We're seeing some dips. We're seeing some softenings going on. Is it the interest rates? I don't know. Is it the fact that a lot of people are waiting for this time of year to sell? I think so.
Maybe.
Because a lot of people don't want to sell in the winter. A lot of my clients I know were going to wait for this time of year to sell. So if everybody else's realtors' clients are saying they're going to wait, this is the time we're getting that push of inventory. And we're getting a lot of, more than we can actually handle for that moment. But you see, they still get under contract.
Sure.
It may not be the 3-day thing on some of them, maybe 7 days or 10 days. I had one recently that was, we were high on, I listed, we were high on our comps, and we're just right there. We listened to the market, did a few things, dropped at 10K, put new carpet in, and then we had a steady flow of offers right there, and we waited it out. So by waiting, I see that the buyers are coming.
Yeah.
They kind of like the fact that it's still on the market. They can come see it.
And there's less nervousness.
And you're not throwing away everything and your child and the kitchen sink to get a house.
Yeah, so still willing to pay full price or near full price, but not wanting to come in, like you said, giving your firstborn child away. And because even I've noticed a few times with that, even when you get an offer like that, they're just promising the world and doing an additional down payment to do some sort of appraisal gap or trying to put in non-refundable earnest money or waiving inspections. So you have a buyer that comes in and they're competing against 10 people, and they do that. They waive inspection, they do this, that, and the other thing, and then after 2 days under contract, they get cold feet and go, what the hell did I just do? And try to find some sort of out. Even if there's a wrestle with earnest money, they go, I do not want to pay $50,000 over what the list price was on this now that I see what else is out there.
Yeah.
Or see what other homes have sold in the area. So I've had that happen too, where your top 3 offers end up falling off because they went so hard on it. They have buyer's remorse, and if they have an inspection contingency, they're getting out on that.
Yeah.
And now you're making the call to the person that was 3rd or 4th in line. Hey, that full price offer.
You guys still interested?
Still want to bring that over here?
Did your buyers find anything yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of circling back going on, but I think for the buyers right now, it kind of gives them a little bit of fresh air. But I think that the interest rates are creating a little bit of a separation. Some of my clients that were approved at a certain number are no longer approved at that number, and the inventory isn't the same for them. So some people are kind of like, well, we might have to wait.
Yeah, and there may be, there's probably, I mean, not probably, there is some effect. So interest rates go up from 3% last year to 5% this year. That does affect buying power for sure. But as far as the market slowing down, quote unquote, I was telling people earlier this week, if you look at the numbers, at least in our local market, if you take 2019 and 2020 and then skip to 2022, take out 2021, and it just looks like a path of continued growth if we took out 2021. And 2021 was a record year in real estate for most markets in the country. Record year for number of units sold, record year for amount of appreciation, and all these different stats. But if you were to take that out, so if we're down from 2021, but we're still ahead of where we were in 2020 and 2019, well, that's fairly not even normal right now. It's still very much a seller's market. I mean, it's still selling things in 7 days or 10 days or whatever. I mean, 7 years ago, you were a hero if you got it sold in under a month.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to keep getting inundated with all. I can't even keep up with everything that's coming our way.
Yeah. And we're in a market, too, that may be a little bit different than some throughout the country, whereas much of our industry here is things that may not be as affected by a recession as other parts of the country. So there might be areas that are hot vacation destinations to where if there is some sort of slowdown in the economy, people stop spending money to go on vacation or whatever. So that can affect that local economy there. Whereas here we have agriculture, education, food distribution, and food production, all things that, sure, they may be affected by a recession in some way, but probably not going to dive off. Like, probably not going to see food production just go whoop, or people needing medical services just dive off, or, you know, education taking a deep turn, or agriculture taking a deep dive.
No, I think that honestly this area has been put on the map. I think that, including me, I had never been here before, but was willing to go back to Arizona and sell everything to come out here. So I think that that's happening with a lot of people. I think a lot of people are discovering this area because they're being brought here by jobs, and because of, I have a few people that used to live here before, they're coming back. So it's actually becoming a highly sought area to be.
Yeah.
And now since post-COVID, a lot of people can work from home. A lot of the people that are coming work for Boeing, work for Amazon, but can work from home. So they can live anywhere. Yeah,
I've had a lot of that too, of people coming from the Seattle area or from California. And still, things have grown exponentially here. But if you look at the major metropolitan areas of the Pacific Northwest or the Western United States, we're still fairly reasonably priced compared to other major markets like your Portland, your Seattle, your San Francisco, areas like that.
Hence why they're building a bunch more of those 800K houses over there, right? I mean, the buyers are here, and they are happy to have that square footage for that price. I mean, it's a gold mine to them. Yeah.
And I think as agents, too, I mean, our market is a good example of why not to pay complete attention to headlines out there about things plummeting or whatever. Real estate is hyper-local. So whatever market you're in, if anybody's out there watching this, if you're in a major market or wherever, be sure you're educating your clients about what's happening in your area, because they are going to be seeing the headlines on CNN or USA Today, Wall Street Journal, or whatever, which anymore, it's not just facts. It's just whatever can get the most clicks or the most people clicking from their Facebook onto their actual article to sell more ad space. And again,
not a lot of value there.
Yeah, the plummet to 5% appreciation. Like, okay.
Exactly.
If you would have asked anybody 20 years ago, hey, you're going to get in a home and have 5% appreciation for next year, they go, hey, great. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So other than, or do you do anything other than client follow-up, doing your door-to-door, your pop-bys? What other ways
do I meet people?
Do you meet people?
And then setting up office at local eateries?
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Let's see. I have a website that I do run, and like an ad website, so people can plug in there, and it does capture their names and emails. I like it because it instantly sends them the houses that they want, sends me a notice that they're interested, and then from there I can follow up if they're interested. So I do have a one like that, and honestly, I've only been doing I started that one in January, and I have 2 clients that came from that one already.
Okay.
And what that does, I kind of like it because it's not necessarily capturing people here. It's more capturing people like in California or Arizona or Seattle area, or wherever they are, and they're searching, homes that they want to buy in Tri-Cities and things like that. So
yeah.
As far as that one, I do like it I think it's a nice website that they've created, and it's a little pricey, but I do like it. So that one I like, as far as also just it has like a home value thing, so people can put in their home value if they kind of want a quick CMA. I blocked it from sending them an automatic one because it sends the worst automatic one I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's probably just as good as estimate or anything like that.
Yeah, so I send an email saying, I'm actually going to take a look at this, but you need to give me 48 hours to follow up with you. And if you can tell me anything about your home that gives me any kind of an idea without seeing it, because all I'm going to send you is comps.
I like that, too. So that's an automated message that goes out?
Yeah, I automatically send back, letting them know that I am not going to send them an automatic, that I need 48 hours so that I can, and then if you have anything that you can tell me that you've done to the home since you purchased it, please let me know.
Sure, I like that. Even though it's an automated message that goes out, it's still a personal message to them.
Yes.
So not just, hey, here's something a computer spit out for you. Congratulations, Mrs. Jones. Here's my, thing that has basically no value whatsoever, and when I come and look at your home, it may be $100,000 more or $100,000 less or whatever, but you have something set up to where it goes out to them and it asks them questions and personal things that allows them an opportunity to reply back, and now you have a conversation going with them. Yeah,
I really like that. And then same thing on the buy side. So when they sign up, they literally have to put in their name and phone number and email or however. They don't have to, but they choose to, I should say.
Yeah.
So if they do that, then I send on the buyer side, I say similar thing. Based on the criteria search that you set up, within 48 hours, I'm going to set up a specific search for you. Please let me know any special specifics, wants, needs, desires that I should know about to add to that email I'm going to send you within 48 hours. And some people really like that. And some people, I had one person respond back, say a realtor gave them this website. I was like, yeah.
All right. Well, that's good.
I was like, okay.
Must be doing something good there, I guess.
Yeah, she's like, oh, another realtor gave me this website. I'm like, okay. So, I kind of like having that, because sometimes lately I haven't been doing I don't sit at the open houses anymore. So I do like to meet people that want to talk about selling and buying. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when you're in the situations, like all the other situations we talked about, it's organic conversation, but they're not actively searching for help.
Right.
And so sometimes if they are searching for help, home to buy in Tri-Cities, homes to sell in Tri-Cities, that's a cry for help. And so I don't mind trying to create a platform saying, hey, here we are. If you want, here's my website. I pay money for it.
Sure.
Here's what I'll do for you. How can I help you? And I think that's one thing I learned early on was to stop and listen. We can say things all day and give a presentation and give a pitch and different things, but if we can truly stop and listen and ask them, what are you trying to do? And then just listen.
Yeah.
Just let them talk for however long they're going to talk. And then maybe ask something else to kind of go along with that. And if you do that, then how are you going to do this? If we sell the house, then what are you going to do? Oh, okay. Then what are you going to do if you do this? So really kind of help them talk about all these different things. Then you get it.
Yeah.
Now you know exactly what you got to do to help them.
And now you know their whys that
Yeah.
you can tune into to be able to help them even more.
But if I would have sat there for a half hour giving them some sort of presentation pitch,
Sure.
I wouldn't have allowed them that platform to have the conversation. They can say, well, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to sell my house. Okay, well, I think your house is worth whatever. Well, what are you going to do when you're selling your house?
Yeah.
And then what? Okay.
What's
and
the reason behind you selling your
Yeah,
house? What are you doing?
And then they trust you a little bit too because you are showing that you care.
Right. Yeah, it's the same thing with purchasing a home too. You can sit there and just say, hey, you can ask people these things in person or have them fill out something online where it's, okay, how much square foot are you looking for? How many bedrooms are you looking for? What size lot are you looking for? And just spit something back out to them. But if you go, 2,000 square foot, tell me more. Why are you looking for 2,000 square feet? Mm-hmm. And it could be, hey, we're downsizing. We're going to be empty nesters next year. We're living in a home that's 4,000 square feet right now. We just don't want to handle that anymore. And we have an acre and a half, and we hate all the yard maintenance. So now you're getting into whys. Now you're going, okay, hates yard maintenance. Want something that's more easy to maintain. And now you have some whys onto where they're going, because most people aren't truly looking for 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
They're
So
looking
you're not
for
going to
what
sell
the
them another
lifestyle-
house with all this crazy landscaping.
Yeah.
You know? So you're going to like, okay, well, probably a cement back patio is okay.
Sure.
You know, various things where other people would be like, oh, I have to have a grass back lawn. So you can really kind of size down more than just that 3-bedroom, 2-bath. There's more going on that they might want.
Yeah, that's what I love about your automated message going out
Mm-hmm.
is because it tunes into that a little bit and gives them an opportunity to reply back. And I have to imagine the conversion on that is 10 times what it would be if you just said, hey, please enter this information and I'll start searching for you.
Yeah, yeah. And it's actually, a lot of the stuff I do, I kind of am at a place where I need more help as far as that goes. I have a girl that she's going to start, she's an architect grad student.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer Schreiber sent me her. So
Nice.
I'm excited to have her come on and help me for the summer. So I have another girl that helps me, you know, do stuffing envelopes and things, but I really need to find somebody to kind of help me. I'm very much an extrovert out there
I can tell.
in the field. Like, what can I do? Like, battleground. But I'm not so much, you know, the emails and answering the emails and just really kind of ciphering through that.
The
So
small, mundane things.
the mundane things. So, you know, there's definitely lots more follow-up I can do from all this stuff that I spend money on, but then I don't have that time to kind of get in there and really go through
Sure.
more of that follow-up. But the conversion rate's actually pretty good for where I'm at.
Yeah, that's great getting to that point. Roughly 2.5 years into this, 2.5, 3 years into it now, right?
Yeah.
Getting to where you're actually hiring help and employing people to help you with the small tasks. I think that's great.
Yeah, and I kind of do my side gig, As You Wish Staging and Design.
Yeah.
So that one has been birthed since last summer. I have a full staging license. It has a umbrella insurance. I think it's $1 million or $2 million. But right now it's basically referral. I have maybe 5 or 6 different realtors that have used me, one for sale by owner and an appraiser.
Nice.
So I do like it a lot. I definitely probably make more money selling houses, but I do enjoy design and the art part of it. And it's also a way of establishing myself as a selling specialist.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for future reverse prospecting opportunities.
Sure.
People, like, not for the realtor part of it, but for when I'm just helping somebody rejuvenate their space. When I start advertising, I'm working on all that, how that's going to look. But when I actually start advertising, commercials, radio, however that's going to look, it'll be about rejuvenating your space, staging and design, staging for holidays, and if you want to change the seasons from Christmas to spring, summer, fall, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
Decluttering. So I hope to kind of, in that realm, be seen as somebody who, when they are going to sell their house, they might be like, oh, yeah, Kristine, she has that staging company. Maybe we should call her. And
Yeah, I think
she's
that's
also a
good too.
realtor.
I think diversifying where your income streams are coming in within the real estate world is good for a lot of people too. It doesn't have to just be, hey, I help people buy and sell houses.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find other facets of the real estate world, that could be beneficial. Well, so whether it's doing home staging, I know some people do photography.
Well,
Which
my
is good
husband's
too.
doing the photography.
Yep.
I'm a one-stop shop.
Yep. People doing investments, even some realtors that go out and do coaching programs or whatever. I like it all. I think if you have a passion for real estate, there's money to be made and people to be helped in several different ways, several different avenues for sure. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I like it, and I like to be very independent. And by having those companies, I'm independent. I can get my photography done when I want it and how I want it. I can get my staging done for my clients when I want it and how I want it. And I'm very much a control person like that. I need to be in control. And when I used to use other stagers, there's great stagers here. They are wonderful. I felt like I needed to put more staging on top of their staging. Like there's just, there's just all these little touches that need to happen. So, and that's one thing I like about my staging. I have professional bottles made by the Lodi Winery, One Hope Wine, which actually is a reverse nonprofit. They do domestic violence nonprofit for animals nonprofit. So I buy those bottles and have my logos put on those. And then when people do my staging, they get one of those bottles.
So you're putting a personal touch into that aspect of it too.
Yeah, so they always get the bottle. The realtor or whoever it is can decide to keep the bottle for themselves, give it to their client, and the value is like a $100 bottle. That when I buy it by bulk, I get it for like $60, but still, it brings a lot of like a special kind of a touch. And then I keep fresh flowers until the property has sold, and then I do booties and all these other little things.
Yeah, so you're putting a personal touch to. It sounds like pretty much everything. So from your emails that go out, your automated emails go out, you have a personal touch to it. When you close on a house, you have a personal touch and following up with people. When you're working with people in your staging business, that you have a personal touch that you add to it. And that sounds like that, just having that personal touch is a lot of what is generating referrals for you, being somebody that's still relatively new to the area and doing very well.
Yeah, and, I like doing it with these realtors. I appreciate them hiring my company and getting that feedback and helping them with their sellers. I appreciate them wanting me to help them, and it's kind of nice because then I know about the house as far as, oh yeah, I seen that house. We can go look at that one. My company staged it. I can brag about it. And one time I did sell one realtor's house that I staged, and I was leaving, and I messaged her and I go, I'm kind of sad. I don't really have a buyer for this house, and it looks great because it was a price point where everybody usually has a buyer, at
Sure.
$350 or something. And I had a client call me the next day and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm approved, blah blah blah," and then she sent me a list of houses, and in that list was that house. And so I told her, I go, "Oh, I'm going to show this house," and that ended up being the one that she bought and the one that she got. So it's like the realtor and I had a special little relationship as far as that goes, and it was just nice that my client actually gave the best offer and came in. And
Sure.
so that, that kind of is nice because sometimes when we deal with our coworker realtors, it's just transactions.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about the buyer and they're thinking about the seller. But this way I can have a relationship with other realtors that's on a whole different level. We're just
Yeah.
talking about staging this house for their clients. And, I find that fun.
I like that. So you mentioned you're starting to move away from doing open houses regularly. Is that, or?
Well, I'm helping Amy do some of those new construction ones, which I really like.
Okay.
Kind of doing the aspect
But
of that.
on your own listings?
On my own listings, I kind of reach out to another agent to see if they'll. I had one seller begging me. She's like, "That's why we liked you, because we came into the open house and you did such a great job."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm going to have one of my other realtors in the office, and I'll go down there and make sure everything looks good." And,
Yeah.
I think that's good to get a buyer to represent your listings that's in the house.
Yeah.
I think that if we can do that, that's important to do.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed that you would do with open houses is it wasn't just stick a sign in the yard type
Yeah.
thing. You do a whole lead up, social media. You're doing stories and posts and trying to get that thing, videos out there as much as you can. Do you have a system or a way, or do you just try to put as much out there as possible, or how do you go about setting up for an open house?
Usually I like to make an event on Facebook, and then I make a Market Street listing on it and just go ahead and put in there that it's going to be on there, so that social media is kind of covered that way. And then from there, if I have time, I have either my girl or I have these little inviting the neighbors. So I do send and put those on the doors around, and we
Yeah.
invite the neighbors to the open house that's going to be happening over the weekend or that day. And then for the open house itself, the usual balloons and
Yeah.
the goodies and the whole flair out there.
And you try to put out as many signs as possible, it looks like.
Yeah, I
right?
try to get signs going from any main area that we can, and then the balloons. I think that's important because people come off of the street if they see the sign. They'll be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we were in the neighborhood," and a lot of times you're going to get the neighbors. So you want to catch potential listings in the neighborhood of people that are possibly interested in selling.
Yeah, or people or neighbors that are having people over.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of correlates there. And then from there, I'll make a video. And then from the video, I can kind of cut it up. What's nice is you have watch party on Facebook. So if you create a watch party video, then you can share it like as if it's live, but it's really not.
Yeah. So it's something you pre-recorded, but you're
pre-recorded.
generating a little bit of buzz.
Yeah, and so then you share it and share it and share it. And so then a bunch of people will click on it. And you know, a lot of times when I do those, some realtor will call me, I want to come, can we show a listing? Can we show your listing? So it does generate a little bit of interest out there. It may not be my buyer, but it does come.
Sure, at least for helping the listing
itself and getting that out there. So, and from there I do TikTok and then Instagram and then the Facebook and then I have my pages. And then from my pages I'll tag all the other pages. So then everything shows up on everybody else's.
Yeah, and then you get a kind of a web of.
So then it looks like a frenzy going on.
Yeah,
but it's really just a lot of hype.
90%
what is it? 90% perception, 10% reality is the way it kind of goes in life, right?
Yeah, but creating that perception of, oh, this is a hot property or this is the place to be this weekend, like you said, even could attract buyers or other people at least to the listing to be able to push it and sell it.
Yeah, and you know, I had another realtor say something to me. She called me. We were talking about a listing, and she said, "Yeah, you know, I've been looking at your videos, and I don't know. I can't remember how she worded it, but I don't know how you feel like you want to do it that way or however." And I go, "You just can't take yourself seriously. You got to be able to laugh at yourself." Kind of like the way Joan Rivers said, you know. I can't remember her exact quote, but basically you need to don't take yourself so seriously. Laugh at yourself, you know.
Yeah, and be okay with it not being perfect.
Yeah, like if my makeup isn't good or this, which is most of the time, or my hair's all wind blown out, who cares? You know, I'm at a house. I'm excited about this house. I want the buyers to get excited about it. I want the sellers to know that we're trying hard to sell their house. And, you know, I think sometimes realtors take themselves too seriously with the whole image thing. Like you have to look like your profile picture all the time. And you really, I think we can just really kind of decompress a little bit and just be more natural. And that makes you seem more approachable.
Sure. Yeah. And that way you're not just trying to be perfect with everything that goes out there. It's like perfection is the enemy of progress, I think is how the saying goes, or something like that. Yeah.
I was like walking through and I sent it to the kitchen. I'm like, in a nice large tub, and I'm like, sink.
Yeah. You know? Yeah.
But I'm not going to redo a whole video because I said tub instead of sink, you know.
Yeah.
I caught myself then.
Yeah. No, I mean, even doing this has been a learning process for me. And like last time I had cameras not working and one that was supposed to work that didn't. And I mean, even this time, like a water bottle falling off the table. When I first started making videos, doing the fitness thing, if I would mess up one little thing, I go, oh no, retake. Got to redo it again. And I think even when I started doing real estate videos, same thing. When I'd be at an open house, I'd fumble on a word.
Gotta do it again.
Oh, gotta do it again. Gotta do it again. But if you just act natural and just know that, hey, little mistakes are going to pop up here and there.
And laugh at yourself.
Yeah, you may as well just roll with it and
go. Meant tub, sink, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, just go with it. It's not that big of a deal. And I think that's important. And I'm getting ready to buy some property out in Grandview in a house out there.
I saw that. I saw your pictures.
I'm excited to still be in Tri-Cities. It's only 30 minutes from the office, and the internet's going to be really bad, so I'm going to need the office. So
might get you in here more now that you're further away.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you might get me more. We're on a 1-year wait for Starlink, so it's gonna. Yeah. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited about learning more about Prosser. I feel like I've really dug into Tri-Cities, this whole area. I'm excited to learn about Prosser and Grandview. I do have my builder out in Sunnyside that I represent, so I have been digging in there a little bit. And he's getting his houses going, so that's going to be exciting here in the next few months.
Yeah. So I want to end. We're coming up on about an hour now.
Okay.
If you've had great success with coming in, being new to the area, not having a big sphere, and then growing that within a couple of years. If there was somebody that was new to the business or new to the area, what would be one piece of advice you would have for them to grow your presence in an area?
If they were the same as me?
Yeah. I mean, just, yeah.
I would say...
What would be like the biggest one or two things to focus on?
I would say find different things in the community to give. I try to give to the Compassion Center, the Active for Life, the Busy Bee Bears. So try to find... I remember I also got a list out of all the builders to call them. They're like, why are you calling me? I mean, I'm not trying to be a realtor. I actually want to know about your homes. and what they're like and, you know, what you do. So I think just be bold. Go into the STCU bank. Start randomly find a lender to talk to. That it may not be somebody in your office refers. So what? Get out of that clique. Get into other people and what they're doing. Go visit Tri-Cities. I became a member of there, but I don't know if they do memberships anymore. Become a member of the chamber. Find different ways of just embracing the community part is one thing. And then the next part, I really feel camping out at those open houses. Just, you know, you're going to get those emails, those names, and just keep them in your database, put them as a follow-up. The conversion I had of that first year of open houses was huge into this last year. I didn't convert most of those people until this last year.
Yep, but sticking with them.
But I stuck it with them, and most of those people I met within those first 6 months to a year. And I was sitting, one house I sat at was in Country Ridge, and I think that's important too. Sometimes people want to sit at houses they think they're going to get a buyer for that house. No, sit in one of those overpriced big houses and do your flare marketing with your signs out there and, you know, get them to come off the street. And those people that came off the street and were getting ready to go down to Bed Bath & Beyond or wherever, and they saw my sign and just thought, oh, we're just looking, we're not buying that house at all. And those people, I did the little follow-up and kept in touch. And most of those people, I sold their house and found a new house. Because the reason why, when most people are just looking, they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
But there may be a good year or two out.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So do the drop-bys, little pop-bys. I would take little flowers in spring, you know, and this and that, and provide value. I remember one lady... She'll probably see this and laugh at me. We had talked about it, and then her husband's a pilot, and he decided to go buy a plane. I remember I was like dropping something off, and she's like, well, I don't know, it'll be a while. My husband just bought a plane.
I've heard to tell people don't buy a car. I don't think I've had to tell a client don't buy a plane yet. That's pretty good.
Like a little Cessna, you know, little plane. So, yeah. But did I throw their number in the trash or anything like that? Of course not.
Yeah.
I still kept in contact. And then out of nowhere, within, I think, the next 6 months to a year, their finances were worked out in a way that didn't matter that he bought the plane. They could still sell and buy another house. And we, in fact, went and met. They bought a place out in Horn Rapids. We went and met and had lemonade and salad yesterday. We try to make a point to every 3 or 4 months just to kind of connect again. And we're going to keep with that. So, and that's, again, really important to me. I was adopted. I didn't really have a big background, so I think maybe I emphasize that more because these people become like my family. Yeah. I'm crying when the offer gets accepted. I'm crying when I'm handing over keys. It just becomes a part of me, you know, in a lot of ways. And so it was just interesting to don't give up. They tell you they're buying a plane. Stay in touch.
Yeah.
Don't give up. And when, you know.
And like you said earlier, with the video not being perfect, when you're going out to the credit unions and the banks and calling builders and all that, like, get out there and trip on yourself, mess up a phone call or two. Like, you're not going to succeed.
Some of these builders are. I'm actually kind of laughing at myself. One of them was like Gail Rue's guy, Kevin, that does the design stuff, and I was like asking him all these questions, and I remember. I think I got him a few of my clients actually used him for the remodels of their kitchens that they bought, you know. So it actually ended up being business. I can't remember the name of this other guy, but I called him and they were just kind of thrown back by it, but then they were impressed that I cared enough to learn. But my dad was a builder. Yeah. And, you know, I've seen different buildings, and I would hate to be pushing my clients to use a builder that's not going to be of right quality. And I really wanted to understand. And I think that's important for anybody new. Go know all the lenders, go into the banks, look like a dodo, you know, and just kind of really just get in there.
Yeah, and most people are going to be friendly. If there's a couple that give you the cold shoulder or whatever, then who cares? Just go on to the next one.
Oh, and do a lot of pens.
Do a lot of what?
Pens.
Okay.
So I buy about 300 pens a month. Just drop those.
Yeah.
I saw one, I won't mention her name, but I saw one other realtor at one of the places I dropped. She had they gave me her pen to sign. I was like, that's the first time. All the times I've been throwing my pens out there that I've seen another realtors, and I'm sure that other realtors do it. But it's really nice when I go into places, and I go into Anthony's or I go into Hops and Drops, and they're using my pens.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's another thing that's
and
just
servers
another.
Need pens.
Yeah, for sure.
They think you're doing them a favor, which you are in a sense, because most clients steal their pens.
Yeah.
You know, I remember in my day.
I've been there before too.
Been there before. And, you know, somebody brings you a bunch of pens. You're like, yes.
Yep.
So
I'd call that another way you're putting a personal touch on connections. So even doing drop-bys with, whether it's a bar or going to a lender, you're still doing some sort of personal touch on it. That's amazing. I appreciate you being on, sharing all those tips.
Too.
And I love that idea of adding the personal touch in everything you do. I think it's been tremendous for you. And hopefully somebody out there watching this can take that to heart and maybe learn something
probably
from
all those
it.
Weddings and bar mitzvahs I planned over the years.
Yeah.
Golf, Orange Tree Golf Resort in Scottsdale. Thank you. You
Nice.
taught me well.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. Appreciate it. I hope we
Thank
can
you.
do it again sometime soon.
Yeah.
All
My
right.
pleasure. Thanks for
Thanks.
having me.